And
Hello and welcome to World Sand Project. I'm Shelley Carney and we're back.
and I'm Toby Younis. We're good. We don't have any explanation for what's happening. That's the second time that we started this show in the last 2 weeks that the system has crashed on us without any kind of warning. Literally, just stopped working. So if it does it to us again today, we've got two other shows that we have to do. So we'll see if we can get through the rest of today's shows. All right, here we go. So our mission in the World Sand Project is to use these videos to promote the idea that we, as members of this entire planet, are using up sand faster than the planet has the ability to replace the sand that we're using. And we're doing that because sand is a major component in the production of concrete, and concrete is the major component in the production of all kinds of sand. So of all kinds of construction, whether it's highways or buildings, et cetera, et cetera. And so we're going to use this channel as a way to promote that by asking people to send us sand from their location, send us some pictures of that location, and then we're going to share that with you to see how beautiful it looks in our microscope. And that's what we're going to do today. The sample that was sent to us today was sent to us by a gentleman whose name is Doug Carver. Doug lives in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, which is a province in Canada. I think it's probably the easternmost province in Canada, but we're going to be looking at a map of that in just a few moments. And Doug has volunteered to take a call from us so that we can talk later on in the show about some of the beaches that are on Prince Edward Island and whether or not he's seen, whether or not he's noticed that those beaches are losing some of their beauty and their value to the community by the use of sand in construction. So it may not be. We're gonna talk about it. All right. So let's start with this. And I'm going to flip over to a window shot. By the way, you're traveling the next couple of days. Is that right? I know we have to start this
Yes,
all over again, huh?
I'll be driving with my husband tomorrow. We're going to leave early morning and go to Austin.
And why are you headed for Austin?
There's a conference in Austin that I'll be attending, and my husband will be visiting with our daughter and son in law
Oh, good.
over the
And how long
weekend.
will you be there? When are you headed back?
Well, we'll be leaving tomorrow, Thursday, and we'll be heading home on Monday. So a long weekend.
And what's the conference about?
It's called Ask Live, and it's a this group of I took this master class course with these people, and we all have online businesses that we're trying to build and grow, and it's based on asking people what they want and then providing that service for them,
Very nice.
tailored to their needs.
So I just noticed that between all our applications, we're at 53% CPU usage, so we're not using a whole bunch of CPU, but I did hear the fan go on, so I wonder if we're overheating somehow, and that's causing the shutdown. We'll have to see. Maybe we need some more air in.
Maybe it's too hot here out on the beach.
You know what? I'm going to go turn the big fan on.
Okay.
I'll be right back. You cover. Actually, it's better for you to go turn
Okay,
the
I'll
big
do
fan on, so I can keep talking here. So we're gonna. It might be very much that this room because we're doing a lot of graphic intensive stuff today, including capturing the microscope. You can see our background. We're live streaming, so it might be burdening the processor because again we happen. And I just heard the fan go on again. So let's see if we can cool it down a little bit in here. We've got a big commercial industrial fan outside the room that we use to circulate air in here because it gets really warm with all the computer on, especially now that it's producing so much heat. It's producing a lot of heat. All right, let's hope we can stay with today's program without getting too crazy. So I'm going to switch over to our window shot right now. And the first thing I want you to look at is a map, and I'm going to scroll out first to show you what we're dealing with here. So that is Prince Edward Island, and I guess it's not the easternmost because Canada goes beyond that. But this is the main part of Canada, and the area that we're talking about, I probably shouldn't have done that because I'll never be able to find it, is called T Hill Park and Beach. I'm going to search for it again so it takes me there. There we go. So T Hill Park and Beach is on the southern facing side of the island, and you can see it right there. And this is where Douglas collected the sand. I'm sorry, I keep confusing him with the guy
Somebody
from
else.
Texas. Yeah, this is where Douglas collected the sand, T Hill Park and Beach. And as you can see, there's a road that leads down to the beach, and this looks like a recreation area. And I thought first it was soccer fields, but to me it looks more like a cricket field or a cricket pitch. But anyway, so there's parking there, and then of course the beach goes down. You can see it's a very long and wide beach before it gets to the water. I'm going to scroll out here before it gets to the water, but it looks like the water does come up that height because you can see the seawall.
Looks like a brain.
It looks like a brain because of the ripples.
Yeah.
But you can see these are, so let me pop open some of these photographs that other people have taken before we look at Douglas's. So that's probably at the end of the beach looking back onto the park. And then there's, areas that look very rural around the park. But again, you can see it's a long, what I would call a wet beach. It's just very low slung. It doesn't have a lot of rise to it from the beginning of the water to the end. And it is cricket. There's some wickets right there. Those are cricket wickets.
Are they sticky wickets?
They may not be sticky wickets. If you're pitching at them and they don't go down, you can claim they're sticky wickets. But these are some really pretty pictures of the area. That Douglas, here's a nice panoramic shot of the entire beach. And you can see it's, like I said, a very low beach because it seems to be wet all of the time. I asked Doug to send us some sand that was from one of the drier areas. Snow.
Cold.
Yeah. Well, it is way up north. So it looks like a beautiful place. Here's another shot. So I want to get back to the map of the area right here, and that's the field that we're looking at where I think the cricket pitches are.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Cricket.
Yeah, right there. That's so, and then the map goes out here, and then what I'm going to do is again I'm going to center on here so I don't lose it. I'm going to keep scrolling out so that you can see the context in terms of mainland Canada. So that's Prince Edward Island. There's the southern facing part of the beach. It's got a nice little cove there, so it's very protected. And then that's the bridge that goes across. I didn't see any pictures of the bridge. So you can see it's pretty far out there in the Atlantic. There's New Brunswick. So nice area it looks like, but certainly not. I thought maybe it was the easternmost, but of course Newfoundland is the easternmost province in Canada. I guess, yeah, that would be the easternmost right there. So I have been to St. John's in Newfoundland, but I haven't been on Prince Edward Island from whence Douglas comes. So let's take a look at some of the photographs that Doug took for us. There are a couple of microscopic shots in here of the sand.
Oh.
So, but I'm going to do those. So we've already seen this. I've got a map. And these photos, I'll put a link to these photos are in our Google Photos account. So I'll put a link to these photos in the, if you want to go see them yourself, in the description box below. And here's some of the photographs that I'm going to pop those open. And you can see this is closer to the end of the sand where the sand wall is, where the seawall is. I suppose what Douglas would have his back to is the rest of the beach, that long area of the beach. He's given us several shots, and I've asked everybody. So it almost looks like one of those shots that was taken by somebody else with that beautiful long, wet beach. I asked him to send us some of the dry sand, and when I got it, that's I believe what I got. So
the driest he could find.
The driest he could find, yeah. So again, these photos, I'll take this link right here and I will put that in the description box below so that you guys can take a look at these photos. I did take some early photos I needed them for promotional purposes, so I took some early photos of the sand. And one of the things that you can see And I'm going to go back to full frame for just a second. So let me give you an example. I don't know how well we'll be able to see this, but this is the sand, this white kind of colored sand that we got last week or 2 weeks ago from Connecticut. It was William Hada sent us that. And you can see it's got a very distinct whitish, grayish, tannish color. Looks like you would expect the sand to be. The sand that Douglas sent us has a very red tint to it. Let me hold them together so you can see the difference. So the one on your left, I guess, is
I
what
think
you're
they
saying?
know which one's redder.
Okay. So the white one is from Connecticut. The red one is from Prince Edward Island, and that's the sand we're going to be looking at today. So you'll have to compare it to the sand in last week's or 2 weeks ago show. Last week or 2 weeks ago? Last week we did the Rio Grande.
Right.
So 2 weeks ago. And what you're going to see is a lot less color, if you will, in it. Let me go back to the window shot. So these are two still images that I took of the sand. This one was close up, not as close as I can get, and this was kind of the wide angle shot. And you can see even in this shot, it has a bit of the pink, but you can see a lot of other colors in it as well. So I'm going to close these windows just because I feel like it's helping us to raise the CPU right here. Well, it's back down to 29 now, so it was doing something that had nothing to do with us. Mm-hmm. So let me close this window, and what I'm going to show you now, what we're going to go to now is that's the actual, and I'll show you that it's the actual live microscope because I'll move it. So that's just me moving the sample of sand. And I'll show you, I usually take and I pour the sand sample into, let me open the full frame again. So I pour the sand sample into a small, this is actually a quartz crystal glass bowl. It's used in laboratories. And so that's what we'll be looking at. That's what I'll put under the microscope so you can see it.
Paprika.
Yeah, it does have a very reddish color to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So let's put that under the microscope.
Cinnamon.
And I'm going to center it up here. And let me move that a little bit. So let me give you some context. This is, what I'm about to put under the microscope, is the head of a pin. So that's the context for you. Sorry I'm so shaky, but when you're holding it like that, well, let me go back to the window shot
It's not
again.
exactly a pin. It's
Well, yeah. So it's a
poking device.
probe that's used in the laboratory. Let me put it back in there
Probe.
so you guys.
We're going to probe the sand.
So that gives you some sense for the sake of comparison what it looks like. So you can see it has kind of a pink hue to it, and that looks to me like the quartz crystals that are normally white that we saw in the other beach shots tend to have a kind of a pink hue to them. But you can see some very red rocks here. This is that's a grain, basically. That's not a big rock. That's just a grain of sand that's a little bit bigger than the others. But you can see a lot of red, a lot of pink color in it, and that's what gives it that sense of the redness in the sand. There are some other colors. There's a dark blue, a green. I saw some black in here as well. So it's a very interesting looking sand. What I don't see, what I haven't seen so far, I'm going to scroll in here digitally before I scroll in optically. I haven't seen any natural, any what are referred to as forams. The things that are little tiny, that are the shells of little tiny living objects that are about the size of the grain of sand. And there's a lot of them on the ocean floor because their lives are very short. They live and die, and then the sand, is that one?
I don't know.
Or is it just, okay, here's the hard part, getting back up there now.
Ah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it's
Do you see it?
it's just two.
It's still in the same spot now.
Okay, let me just push it this way.
Get your pokey stick out. Poke it. See it?
Yeah. So that doesn't look like a grain. That looks like something very natural. It's very small. So let's zoom in about halfway first to take a look at it, and then
You pushed it down to the bottom of the screen.
it's okay because I've got to. As I zoom in, we're gonna zoom in about halfway. Let's make them just a little bit bigger, and I think we'll see some more color and some more variability in the objects. But again, one of the advantages of this kind of sand is that it's been beaten up, so it has a lot of angles to it. And this kind of sand, as opposed to desert sand. And by the way, I do now have some sand samples from White Sands, Alamogordo. It's the White Sands outside of You want me to put the pin in there again?
Push it back up where you can see that black thing that I was showing you.
Let me see if I can find it.
There it is.
Where?
There.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to, so I can get back to it.
Is that just part of a, what is that?
I have no idea. Let's see if we can get closer. So,
What's going on there?
looks like it's attached to the grain of sand, doesn't it?
It does.
Like
Whatever it is.
like a alien attaching itself to a grain of sand. So we're going to go maximum zoom on this guy. See if we can keep him in the shot.
It's down here now.
Yeah. Well, he definitely looks like he's attached to the rock.
Yeah.
So the problem with once we zoom in this far, so let me zoom out and see if I can center him. It in the I'm going to center it in the frame, and then as we zoom in, it'll give us a better look at it.
Doug says, is that roadside sand? There was 3 samples sent.
Yes, this is the one from the beach. The roadside and the parking lot are in separate samples, but we really wanted the one from the beach. We did keep the samples in separate containers. So this is the one that was from the beach. Okay, so let me try and zoom in and see how close I can get to this guy.
It's like a piece of shell or something.
Is it 2 different objects? Is the black thing different from the white thing?
Yeah, kind of.
As we say in science?
2 different creatures or something. Or a creature in a shell.
Let's see if I can move it without moving it too far. I'm going to zoom in even further. I thought, that the white part looked to me like fiberglass, like threads, right? But now I think you're right. I think it's just a shell on top of that, the more natural looking thing.
Whatever that seaweed or
whatever it is.
Creature.
But it's interesting because it is attached itself to that one grain of sand. And you got to remember that we are talking about literally grains of sand. So this is all happening in miniature. I do see some right there. Let me focus on it. So we have a very shallow depth of field at this point. But that right there looks to me like olivine because it's kind of got a green color to it and it's transparent. I don't think I can. I think I'm at the limits of my zoom. Let me see what I can do here. I need to clean those lenses because I see some spots. Yeah, so you can see, I would humbly estimate that a plurality, if not a majority, of the sand grains actually are like a quartz with a pink tint to them, and I think that's what gives that beach that red look. Let me navigate around here. This is even harder because we're way close focus here. So I'm just going to see if I can get some more color.
Doug says it's shell and eelgrass root.
Oh.
And J.K. Pioneer says you keep freezing up every time you move around.
We keep freezing up?
Well, I guess the screen does.
Yeah, we're back up to 52% CPU. There's something going on. Maybe Windows doing something. So it looks like no matter where I move this, if you look again at the individual sand grains, they do have the clarity of quartz for the most part. And I'm going to say the majority of them have the clarity of quartz, but they have the pink tint to them. And I know that is a normal feature right? It's not unusual to have quartz that has color to it from various natural effects, such as oxidation. It may have some iron in it, although I think iron tends to turn it blue rather than... I'm going to zoom back out a little bit so I can look for...
Rush. What is rush?
See if we got some more interesting areas here. So there's that big red rock that we saw earlier. And again, forgive me, I'm doing this with my hands. This particular stereo microscope doesn't have
The slider.
a adjustable stage on it, so I have to do this with my hands. But I like it because it doesn't require me to zoom in so much. So let's take it in from there. So I'm gonna call this average in terms of visibility for this sample. And as you can see, we've got a lot of the pink quartz. There is some translucent, some white quartz, if you will. There's a lot of these objects that look to me like some sort of aggregate. I don't know, they look like blended material of some kind. Because you can see the different colors in it. And then this tends, I thought at first it was yellow, but it tends to be a little bit more green than yellow. So it is a very unique and different sand sample, and certainly shows the characteristics that we would expect to see based on the color, right, that we saw in the...
Well, Doug says iron rust is in the sand.
Yeah, yeah. So that's where it gets that. So that's where it gets its color. So, Doug, I think what we'll try to do now is give you a call, and let's talk about this area because I think it's a darned interesting area. So just give me a second here to get set up.
All right. Looks like we have 4 people watching.
Cool.
Four of the 6 came back after we crashed.
I'm just grateful we didn't have another crash. We haven't had another crash. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Doug, I'm going to go back here.
Oh, we're up to 5.
Okay, so
Doug said he can call you if you want him to.
No. I've got his phone here in front of me. I'm going to call him right now.
Hey, Rick. Rick's here. Rick can help us out with some of
There's
these
not
things.
enough money on your account to place this call. You are being transferred to the Verizon Wireless Payment System to add money to your account.
To know that.
Please hold. Location
I thought you put it on,
25808.
Automatic
I did.
update.
I mean, literally the last time.
Welcome to the Verizon Wireless National Payment
Okay.
Center.
Okay, well, hang on a second.
Silly
Jeez.
boy. Well, show the rocks again and let Rick take a look at them.
Okay.
Since he's here now.
All right, hang on. Let me. Well, I will do that. Let me get this call out. Wow. You were with me when I paid that.
Yeah?
Oh, you know what it is?
No.
It's Canada.
Oh.
That's what it is.
Oh, he
Okay.
can't call Canada.
Doug, it's that I don't have, that's what it is. I'm calling Canada. So, Doug, you're going to have to call me.
So I have to turn the phone on.
Phone is
he
on.
And it's not on Do Not Disturb.
Let me make sure. Da, 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 da. Okay.
Thanks, Rick. You're very generous.
What did Rick say?
This is an entertaining show.
Yeah, it's been pretty damn entertaining so far. You missed the first 5
Crash.
minutes of it, the first crash.
So
Okay.
You want to show this on screen so Rick can see it?
Let's get Doug in the call. Hang on.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, Doug, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Oh, great. Oh, good. So I'm sorry. I know that sounded crazy there, but I just realized this particular phone isn't set up for international calling. That's why I didn't let
Yeah.
me call you.
Next time, just tell me to phone because I got the plan to look after things.
Well, and that's kind of what we do when we on a Gypsy's Kiss. I had never had to call you out, so I'm glad this worked out for us. So I'm going to go back to the photographs of the area that we were talking about. And what I'd like you to talk about is that area on Prince Edward Island that we're looking at. So tell me about that beach, the T Hill Park and Beach, and tell me how much time you spent out there and what you think of it, and whether or not you've seen any ecological impact on it at all.
There's erosion here on PEI, and someone was saying something about PEI won't be around 35,000 years from here, but we're doing so much transporting of material to PEI, of gravels and rocks and other building material. I think they kind of underestimated how long things are going to last.
So where is that material that you're transporting to PEI coming from? Other parts of Canada? What other parts of Canada is it coming from?
We get a lot of material from New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. Some comes in on barges, some come in on transport trucks.
And how are they using all of that material? Is that used solely in construction, or are they using it to expand?
Yeah, that is mostly all the material around the roadside. That's why I took a sample near the roadside.
Yeah.
Because some of that material will be slightly mixed in with outer province material.
Yeah. And we did save those samples in separate sample vials, and later on, as we look for other areas to explore in this, we're going to use those. I also appreciate the sample that you sent from the parking lot, which included shells, miniature shells and things like that. So we'll look forward to seeing that.
Yeah, I thought Shelley might want a jeweler to maybe touch up those shells and make some jewelry for herself.
Yeah, that's very thoughtful, and that has a lot of potential.
And I don't know if the shells survived. They were in one piece, 3 of them, when I sent them to them.
2 of them came through intact. 2 of the 3. So
it's better than none.
Yeah, better than none. So let's take a look at the photographs that you took, and you can tell us a little bit more about that. So this is, as I understand it, more towards the roadside. How would you describe this particular image?
See, when I first took that sample, that bit of erosion there that I took a picture of wasn't there, but we had a storm and that erosion happened.
Oh, I see. So that's very interesting. That is a lot of erosion for just one storm.
Yeah, one storm will wipe out a foot. It was a big storm, though.
And do they try to replace that or recover it after the storm, or they just?
Well, we have all that rock. All the big boulders from Nova Scotia and New Brunswick off to one side.
Yeah. And that's what's used to help recover the area.
With this erosion here, if you see the log there and stuff like that, they kind of try to block it with just natural.
Oh, I see.
Thing. We got some pretty funny rules here in Canada, eh? Sorry for the A.
That's okay.
We got some very strange laws here in Canada about what we're allowed to do to the environment.
Oh, interesting. So do you feel like your laws in Canada are more stringent than our laws in the U.S., more protective?
Well, we have it so we have to even be careful, on our properties, about even wood chipping wood in our our woods on our own property and just letting it spread out onto the ground.
Yeah.
Because we had Greenpeace go friggin' absolutely grape ape on us there.
Yeah.
And our politicians kind of gave in to them a little bit because the NDPs got in for a short period of time. And we're supposed to just let stuff rot in the woods.
Oh, rather than trying to clean it up, let it go back to...
Yeah, we're not supposed to do any extra. We're still fighting about that a little bit, right?
So where do you stand? Where do you stand on the side of environmental protection? Do you tend to be more liberal or more conservative?
I'm free. No, I'm not liberal. I am not saying. I believe in true free will.
Okay.
And it's a very tough one to deal with.
Yeah.
Because then the rules are, you got to be very tolerant to have that. It's true free will.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you took the time. I'm very grateful that you took the time to send us this sample. It's a beautiful area. And as you can see, so this shot here looks like it's further out from the beach, but back towards the land. Is that correct?
Yeah, all these shots are saying that's because the tide's out and the beach is drying.
Yeah. And so the tide comes in twice a day, like most tides?
The tides range around three yards.
Yeah.
About 9 feet here. But over in New Brunswick, they're 57 feet tides.
I remember when I was in St. John's, I remember they had the strangest looking marinas, because the marinas had piers on them that had poles, big tall telephone poles on each of the piers that would rise and fall with the tide.
Yeah, over in New Brunswick, they got a river that for miles runs backwards during certain parts of the day.
Yeah. So here's one from, and it looks like you're pointing out towards the ocean. That looks like a very nice cove that at T Hill Park. It opens up into a cove.
Yeah, that little white mark is a lighthouse, eh?
Oh, it is. Wow.
In the background
on the southern, and that's on the southern part of the island.
Yeah, this is I'm facing kind of in a northerly direction there when I took that picture.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So the ocean would be out towards your left. Is that correct?
Well, it's not really the ocean. It's called the Strait between Nova Scotia and PEI.
Oh, right.
The ocean is kind of on the north side of the island.
The north and eastern side, yeah. So another view. Is there good clamming on this beach? Can you guys go out clamming?
I didn't catch that.
Can you go, once the tide goes out, can you go look for clams on the beach?
Oh, you can walk a quarter mile out on a low tide.
You can?
Yeah. See that bump over in this shot here?
Yes, right here on the right-hand side, about the center?
Yes, that's a shooting range.
Oh, nice. So it looks
that's
like
the hill where all the lead ends up.
Yeah, yeah. So it looks like they have a lot of amenities.
That's about 1/8 of a mile out into the water.
Yeah.
And so, and Governor's Island at low tide, I think at the end of it, there's only 3/4, that's 3¼ miles out. A little further out.
Okay, hold on. Let me go out just a little bit.
Yeah, right there.
Okay.
That little green dot there at the end of the black dot in the center.
Let's see, right here?
No, towards the left in the screen, right in the center, right straight out from the red marker that you got there.
Okay, so that's the T Hill Park and Beach. So where do you want me to? Do you want me to go west from there?
Yeah, right there. Go straight down towards the south.
Straight down towards the south, across the strait.
Okay. Well, just out right there.
Yeah.
That's another island. Way back in the black is a little green dot there. That's Governor's Island.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Right there. Is that it? There it is.
Yeah, that's 3¼ miles out from the shore.
Oh, I see. Okay. And can you boat out in that area, or does the low tide prevent it?
There's great big cruise ships that come right down that channel right there off the other side of T Hill. Great big cruise ships, as as big as any that I've ever seen.
Oh, amazing. Well, it looks like a beautiful area. How's the winter weather there? Is it pretty rough?
Well, we've never seen 40 below.
I guess that's something.
You hearing me?
Yeah, yeah. So you said you've never seen 40 below.
Right. 40 below, it doesn't matter if it's Fahrenheit or Celsius, it's the same.
Right. Yeah. Well,
we've never seen 40 below. I'd say, well, you guys are going to have to do the conversion. The average temperature here is between minus 20 and minus 25 Celsius.
minus 20.
Like in the winter parts of the
Yeah,
season.
the winter parts. So
yeah,
I don't
for
know.
about 3 months.
Oh, okay. Well, I can't remember. I know it's 9/5 of the temperature plus 32, something like that. Like, I don't remember the
sounds
exact
cold,
calculation.
either way.
Yeah, it's cold any way you look at it.
Yeah. Cold is still cold.
Yeah, any way you look at it. If it's minus something,
Yeah.
it's
If
cold enough.
it isn't 75, I'm half froze.
Right. Well, we're having some really strange weather here in New Mexico recently. The temperatures have risen into the high 50s, low 60s. Today we got some rain for the
What a
first time.
thunderstorm.
And a thunderstorm. Yeah,
And hail.
Oh, did you get some hail over
Yeah.
to us? Oh, we didn't.
Yeah, we
didn't
were
get
out
any of it.
in getting groceries and
Started hailing?
uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're having a very comparatively mild winter here. So
But we need the water.
Now, I only can talk about kilometers because that's the only thing I've been dealing with for the last 30 years since they switched.
That's fine.
Anyways, from T Hill there, from the park, straight down the road, heading towards the east, is my mom's place. And we've been that's our homestead for 200 years now. It isn't
nice.
the original home there anymore, but that next little cove after the shooting range is my mom's place.
Wow. So you're native to
We've been there for 200 years.
You're native to the island, huh?
In our bloodline, we don't know if there's any native blood itself. But our history, it goes back to 400 years ago.
And that's what I meant. I didn't necessarily mean native.
I meant
native
how
in
long do
the
you
sense.
stay in some place before you're native?
Right. So you were born on this island. Is that correct?
Yes,
That's what I mean
was
by
born on the
you're
island.
native to the island in the same way that I'm native to New
Yes.
Mexico. All right. Well, we've got to get ready for another show here at 4 o'clock. So, Doug, again, thank you very much for sending us a sample, doing such a great job of providing pictures, and thank you for allowing us to call you and talk about Prince Edward Island.
I found something weird up in Wyoming.
Okay, and we will talk about that tonight. I will give you a chance to call in tonight to talk into it.
Can I just quickly mention it?
No, because we really have to get going because I've got another show here in 10 minutes.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyways, I found a model map in Wyoming.
Great. All right.
Okay.
Well,
and we'll talk about it whenever you say call.
Yeah, tonight.
If you don't say call, I'm not calling.
Oh, no, we'll talk about it this evening. We'll have plenty of time.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks
you
again.
have a great one, and I love you guys' show. Shelley, from now on, if you want things to keep going, you need to say the line, and there's more.
And there's more.
And there's more.
And there's more. All right, sir.
Yeah.
You have a good afternoon. We'll talk to you
line
tonight.
that you say when you're handing out gifts. But there's more.
Oh,
There's always more. All right, sir. Thanks again.
Anyways, never mind about that. You guys continue to wrap up your show.
All right. Take care.
Okay, great. Thank
Bye-bye.
you, guys. Bye.
Okay, but I do want to get one more shot at Rick, seeing what Rick sees in the. So.
If he's still here.
If he's still there.
Thank
so,
you.
Rick.
We have 5 watching, 4 watching. We have 4 watching, so maybe Rick's one of them.
All right. So what I'm gonna do is zoom out very quickly, Rick, and give kind of an overview, and then maybe you and I can talk tomorrow night on what kinds of things that you see here. So I'm going to go way, way out, zoom. And you can see it's got that nice pinkish reddish tint to it, generally speaking. I'm going to center up the dish. But I see some quartz, and I'm hoping that you see some other things as well. All right? And then I'll zoom in, and I'll get some photographs of these to share with you so we can get a sense of what all is in there.
And we'll put the link to the photos in the description box below this video.
Right. So we'll add some more photos to that, to what you saw in today's. All right? So we're going to have to sign off here because we got to get on to another show in just 10 minutes. So
we go full screen and say goodbye.
let's do that. There's better.
All right, thanks for being here today and for your patience as we work our way through the kinks in a new channel. Looking forward to seeing you again next week as we talk more sand. And for World Sand Project, I'm Shelley Carney.
And I'm Toby Younis. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next week at 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time right here on the World Sand Project.